Welcome back to Talkin Shop with ShopSabre. I'm Brandon, back with Jesse. We're on to episode 28, Jesse?
Yeah, that sounds right.
28. Here we go. Today we're going to talk about change in the future.
Doc Brown, look at that.
Yeah,
a little Back to the Future.
A little Back to the Future, exactly. Last week we talked a little bit about ventilation and air quality.
It was a great episode.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I got some good feedback right away after that.
We did. We had a lot of feedback last week off that. Sold a few filtration systems, which was nice to see people thinking about it and taking it serious and realizing that there's a little bit more they could be doing to enhance their shop. So people are listening.
Yeah, they are. Got some good questions, got some good feedback, and like you said, we sold a few systems, so kind of fun.
Yeah, no, it's been fun. Obviously, we're missing Garrett at this point.
Guys are really sweet.
Yeah, I wish he was back.
Yeah, we wish he was back. Last week we were saying we didn't need him, but we need him.
Yeah.
I think it's not the same without him.
I feel sad.
I feel sad too.
Yeah, I like a piece of me's missing.
Yeah, the whole office is like the same way. Like we're walking around like, where's Garrett?
Yeah, you can see it. People are like, he needs to come back.
Yeah, we just stare at his desk.
I cry a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Just a touch.
Garrett, come back.
Please.
And then he texts me and I'm like, go away, Garrett. No, he does a lot. And you definitely notice him not being here. So.
Oh, yeah, you can feel it big time.
Not to mention there's all these buttons that he's making me push and he's very judgmental.
A little bit.
I'm like, oh, I got to push the right buttons at the right time.
You're doing your best.
I'm doing the best. I'm not Garrett, okay? What do you want from me?
That's definitely true. He has way better hair.
He does have way better hair than me.
That's right.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. So, Garrett, heal up. Get back here.
We miss you.
We miss you. We miss you. But yeah, it's getting cold out, Jesse.
I'm freezing right now. It's cold in here.
Yeah, things are changing.
Yeah, it is.
It's the end of the year.
Winter is here.
I don't think it's here yet.
It feels like it.
It's not here yet. It's supposed to be 74 today.
That's okay. Maybe it's not.
It's not here yet. But
it's around the corner.
It is around the corner because it's been like in the high 30s at night.
Yeah, it was pretty chilly last night. I left the window open while I went to bed.
I've made a huge mistake.
Yeah.
Yep. Nope, I get it completely. It's one of those things where you kind of regret leaving windows open some nights here because it's getting down. And, as things are changing, that kind of made me think about change in the future. Back to the future.
I like it.
Right? I was thinking about it, how the seasons change. I was kind of thinking, you go from one season to the next, and it's just amazing how fast things, happen.
Yeah. Time just seems like it's flying.
Yeah. Like, I feel like we just were talking about New Year's, and now, boom, we're talking about going into the fall and into Christmas.
Talking about New Year's.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to be coming up on New Year's, Like, what happened? So, this year was definitely a whirlwind when you think about it because we had such a weird year to start off with, with the whole COVID thing.
Right.
And then it's like things went crazy. We're getting super busy. And then now the shortages everywhere of trying to, keep up with how busy life has become. But the one thing you have to kind of start looking about is how shops are changing too.
Yeah, they're kind of forced to right now, huh?
Yeah, like you're seeing a lot of stuff. It's the kind of the evolution, you will, if you will.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Of the shops. You're seeing. I feel like in the last 2 years, specifically like 2 years, you've seen more evolution in shops than in the last 10 years combined. I
would absolutely agree with that.
I think it's one of those things where like when technology hits, it hits. And
it does.
COVID kind of forced that.
It forced everybody.
I mean, think about it. Like, let's go back pre-COVID, right? Let's start talking about that for a second.
I don't even remember that.
I know. It's so hard to think about it.
When was it? Dang.
Yeah, when did that happen? But remember when, like, meetings were all meetings.
They were.
You went to meetings.
You did.
And you, like, when you think about it, like, salesmen would drive around, come to your shop, walk in, like, that was a part of their normal day-to-day.
Right. Shake your hand, laugh.
Yeah.
Good time.
But now it's gone to, like, I'll meet you on Zoom.
Yep.
I'll meet you on Microsoft Teams.
Yeah.
Like that's what you're seeing. Like
I'll stand out on the curb and wave through the window.
Yeah, like I'll give you the old neighbor hi through the fence, you know? But no, it's you don't see it the same anymore. The world just has embraced technology, if you will, right?
Certainly has.
I mean, how many people are still working at home?
There's a lot.
Yeah?
A lot.
A lot of people that have not gone back to the office. There's a lot of people that probably will never go back to the office.
How many companies realize, like, I don't need employees in here?
Yeah. How many employees are realizing... how many employers, are realizing that brick and mortar isn't as necessary anymore?
A lot.
You're
seeing that move, change.
I went to Best Buy this last weekend. I had to get rid of an old TV that got broke during a move. That may or may not
I heard about that.
We may have talked about that on a podcast previously. But I had to get rid of that TV. And so I went to Best Buy. And, like, I walked in. I had my two boys with me. We walked in and we were talking about, me and my wife were talking a little bit about like what it used to be like when you were a kid. You walk in and like you looked forward to like going and playing the video games and like there were so many cool things at Best Buy to play with and look at.
Right.
There's just nothing anymore.
No, remember you get bombarded by associates right when you come through the door. How can I help you?
Yeah, like you walk in now and there's a little desk and they ask you what you're there for. Like you kind of have to have a plan.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have zero plan. I'm sorry.
Here's your number.
Yeah, exactly. But they're like, okay, you need to get TV dropped off. This is what you got to do. Like they were very like, this is the way we're going to do it. Like you're not going to be in the store longer than you have to be. And it turned me off a little bit because how do I go spend money, right? How do I shop if I can't just browse and walk around? And finally, once we got in the store, once we got our turn and we were walking around, I browsed a little bit. I told Amy, like, I really kind of miss this. I miss being able to browse and walk around. But, like, even what they had to look at, their selection, there wasn't a lot to choose from.
No, there's not. I was there recently as well, and same feeling. I remember I started working at Best Buy in high school, like to go in there and look at it. It's not even the same.
No,
it's changed so much.
Yeah, I remember the video game section? Used to be like
you take my breaks over there.
Yeah, it used to be like 20 aisles.
Yeah,
just video games galore.
Yeah,
there's one aisle now.
Yeah,
one aisle.
Very much so.
Like my son walked up and down. And he's like, "All right, Dad, I'm good."
They have more spots where you can sit and work from your laptop than they do like actual things to buy.
What makes a Best Buy the best Best Buy?
Correct. I agree with that. Like, it was just weird to me. Like, that whole thing, But again, it goes back to when we were there, they were like, oh, yeah, you know what? We were looking for something, and it wasn't there. And I'm like, do you guys care? He's like, oh, yeah, but we can do that on bestbuy.com. Like, they in the store trying to get me to go online.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Like, you can see times are changing,
There's no more customer experience.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's something that I think has changed it at ShopSabre. It's quite the opposite.
It is.
We've been focusing on the customer experience. That's like been our motto here for the last year.
Yeah.
And it's really about trying to get more involved with customers and trying to help them and make it a better experience because so many companies have forgotten about customer service.
They have.
And that's really where our bread and butter is. We focus on customer service. But, that's something that we're seeing, like I said, kind of, all a part of the topic we're talking about today is how things are changing. Shops are changing. The evolution of the machine is even changing, right?
It is.
Like, let's look at like machines 10 plus years ago, 20 years ago. Okay. You had a lot of manual machines out there, right?
Yep.
And now you're starting to see, a lot more automated equipment, right?
Right. Taking the user out of it for the most part.
Yeah. So you went from manual machines, which is a guy on the, manual lathe, if you will, right?
Yeah.
He had to, I remember doing that in high school. Remember, like in shop class, you had to like crank the wheels and like.
They didn't let me play with that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I got to make some cool stuff. And, man, I just remember, like, if you crank the wheel too far, like, you mess your whole project up, right? Like, It was all manual. There was no, like, CNC behind it. It was like, I hope I don't screw this up. Crank, crank, crank. Like, well, we're good still. Like, it was one of those deals.
Yeah.
A lot of manual machines, which is kind of cool. But then you went into, like, the semi-automated, series, which I consider, like, a point-to-point machine.
Yeah.
Where it's doing a process, a point-to-point manufacturing, essentially. It's also referred to by a lot of people as pod and rail or part-to-part manufacturing. But nevertheless, what it's going to do is you output a drawing for each individual part.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's not like a full CAD, but it's like one each individual part. And then you take that panel, take it to a panel saw, right?
Yep.
And you cut your part from that sheet. So you have a sheet, you cut it down to a part size, right? And then that part size goes onto the table. So it goes onto like your vacuum pod, if you will.
Follow.
And then you cut that one part, right? Mm-hmm. And then maybe you cut it and then you have to turn the part. And then, so it's a part to part level, which is still more automated than manual, but still a lot of manual work.
Yeah, sounds like a lot of work.
And then there's CNC technology. There's what today's CNC world is.
I'll take one, sir.
You're going to take that one?
Yeah, I'll take that one.
Yeah, CNC 101?
Yes, please.
All right, let's fire it off.
The term CNC stands for computer numerical control, right?
Yep.
And the CNC machining definition is that it is a subtractive manufacturing process that typically employs computerized controls and machine tools to remove layers of material from a stock piece, right? So it's automatically removing the material, known as the blanker work piece, and produces a custom design part.
Yeah, you couldn't have sounded any more boring than you did right now when you were reading that. So thank you.
Thanks.
I almost fell asleep, but then I remember.
I was more or less telling you, like, I want that machine, the one that does it all, and you thought I was meaning read it. So I took it.
Yeah, no,
That's
see
what you got. Yeah, wake up.
I knew where you were going with that. But I wanted to see you read it off because now we have half the audience sleeping. But nevertheless, like you said, I think a key thing that you said a part of that, though, was it's where you remove layers of material from a stock piece.
Right.
Right? where the flip side is the new industry is what, 3D printing?
Yeah.
Adding layers of material, right?
Right.
Building it up.
Yeah, you don't have to cut anything.
So, I mean, again, as the evolution of machines have evolved, so is your shop. Things you can do today you couldn't do 30 years ago.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, I guess I shouldn't say that. You could do it 30 years ago. It was going to take you 5 times as long, and you had to be way more talented.
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of things we do today that you couldn't do 5 years ago.
Yeah, I'm sure you're probably right.
Yeah.
There's definitely, there's a lot of things that have evolved, like, right?
Right.
But why are shops evolving? Let's start there, Jesse. Why are we seeing people evolve? Why are shops evolving into this stuff?
Well, right now you're being forced to, right?
Yeah.
You have a lack of employees, so you have to find a way to keep up. So you're seeing shops evolve towards technology. You're seeing shops you require less employees.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a labor shortage.
There is.
That's the easy way to look at it. Like you said, first and foremost, who are you going to hire?
Yeah.
All right? I mean,
Yep.
even if you don't want to embrace technology, who are you going to hire right now?
Yeah, exactly.
Ghostbusters? Who are you going to hire?
Who are you going to call?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Nobody. There's lack of tradesmen out there.
There
Right?
are, yeah. There's a lack of everything.
Lack of skilled laborers.
Mm-hmm.
The reality is, there's a generation of students. I'm just going to put it out there. Like, there's so many people that were raised with that. You got to be a doctor. You've got to go be a lawyer, right?
Yeah.
Like, there was a whole generation of us that were, like, it was hammered down our throats that you had to go to college and, like, this is what you had to do, right?
Oh, for sure.
And the problem is nobody was hammering down anybody's throat that it was okay to go be a laborer still.
Right.
Like-
it was like the wrong thing to do.
Correct. And
You don't want to work with your hands.
Correct. And I'm thinking about that, like, a lot of our parents, like, that's what they did. They ran industrial equipment. They ran, cool stuff. Like, they did things with their hands.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I get it. Parents are always trying to, like, I want better for my kid, right? So because I did this, I'm not going to let them do it.
Right.
Why? Like, that's the wrong mentality to have. Like, because you did it and you've been successful, why wouldn't you want your child to be successful, right?
Maybe it was a lot of work. I don't know. Maybe.
And that's exactly it. You're just trying to build a better life for your kid, right?
Right.
You're trying to make it easier on them. But the reality is, that's not always the right way to do it, because
No, it's
now
not.
you have a whole generation built around being students.
Correct.
Going to college because you're a lawyer now. You're a doctor. You have a degree on paper.
So where are the skilled laborers coming
Correct.
from?
Now you have no skilled laborers. So now it's like, now you see a big turn. My wife's a teacher, and you see a big turn, people pushing towards VOTech again. Like, hey, it's okay. Go do that. Go be an electrician.
Yeah, please.
Like, please, like, go be a plumber. Like, go. You have to. You need these people. There's still good money in it. Don't take anything away.
Phenomenal money.
A plumber's not any less than a lawyer. Like, in all reality, like, you're just as important.
Yeah.
So that mentality is where I think the world went wrong. Like, we started pushing, like, these other, trades, these other, and I
Not
don't
even a
call it
trade.
Yeah, exactly.
Other industry.
Other industries. And, there's nothing wrong with lawyers and doctors and all of that, right?
Right.
But you still have to have the world balance, right? Not
Well,
everybody's going to be a lawyer. I'm sorry. Like,
If
me,
you-
I'm going to fail that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, not happening.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I mean, you need electricians, right? You can't have doctors if you don't have electricians.
Yeah.
Because you have to have the lights on in order
Correct.
to be a doctor.
Correct. Exactly. So, there's a lack of skilled laborers out there now.
For sure. It's
And-
scary.
Yeah. And then there's also a lack for drive.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, if Garrett was here, this is a perfect opportunity where Garrett would come in. Let me do it real quick.
Yeah, I'm
Garrett,
ready.
can you tell us about your generation? Well, my generation out there, we're just not. We're just, you don't see it. They're just not driven. Some of us are, but not all of them. How was that?
That's pretty close.
Was it pretty good?
Pretty good.
That sucked.
No, but in all seriousness, like, Garrett says it all the time. Like, his generation is really not wanting to go work with their hands. They want to work with technology.
Right. And I'm guilty of this. Like, I was like, the next generation coming up is lazy. That's the way I thought.
Correct.
Until we started talking to Garrett, and they do it a different way.
Correct. And that's exactly it. They're not lazy.
Right.
They've been programmed to do it differently.
Do it smarter, not
Yeah,
harder.
like, exactly. Work smarter, not harder, right?
Yeah.
So they want to do it with technology.
Correct.
Like, and that's where we give them a hard time because
We
it's
do.
not our way.
Right.
But it doesn't make it the wrong way.
Correct.
Now don't get me wrong. There is a generation that is lacking drive there, right? There's some people that just simply don't want to go figure it out.
For sure.
They want the answer, right?
For sure.
They don't want to learn a skill. They just want to learn to push a button. And that's where CNC comes in, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because you don't have that labor. You have a labor shortage. You need to start thinking about people who can do things, multiple things at one time.
Correct.
A CNC machine can do multiple things at one time, and it's one person running that one machine.
Absolutely.
Right? So your machine can act as 3 to 4 employees, but there's one employee running it.
Right.
Labor shortage, right? It's a perfect
How to
opportunity.
overcome it.
Yeah, exactly. Another thing, let's just talk about is materials.
There's another shortage there too.
Right? Material shortages. You know, if you do find labor, right, you're one of the lucky people out there that has the labor. You might not have the material to actually use the labor.
You got some people standing around.
Yeah.
But we got nothing to cut.
Yeah, you got less material to work with. Like
Right.
I was reading on Facebook this weekend on one of our user group posts. Somebody was talking about they just did, I don't know, it was like a crazy amount of like sheets. It was like 1,200 sheets of material. They were
Whoa.
cutting. Yeah, something just absolutely nuts. It was super cool. They were cutting these parts, and everybody kept chiming in. Like, there wasn't like, wow, that's great. Whoa, that's what you should be doing. It was like, how'd you get that much material? Like, everybody wanted to know that. And I'm like, yep, he's got an underground world of, material delivery apparently, because
What train did you find?
yeah, exactly. Like, there's just no material anywhere for people. And, therefore you need to be more efficient with the materials you do have.
That's smart.
Right?
Makes sense.
Again, work smarter.
Not harder.
Yeah, exactly. So you have less afforded waste, right? So you have to start thinking about how are you going to get more parts onto one piece of material, right?
Right.
What's the answer to that?
Nesting.
Yeah, nested manufacturing.
Yep.
It's huge.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, right now, nesting refers to the process of laying out multiple parts into a single pattern, or multiple patterns into a single cut.
Right.
Essentially, you're taking, as an example, let's just go to cabinetry, right? Your one box cabinet can fit all into one sheet.
Sure can.
So now you're reducing the amount of time and waste involved.
You sure are. That's minimal waste.
Yeah. So you take your cabinet, you break it down. Now you're cutting your sides, your back, your top, your bottom, whatever. You're doing all of that in one sheet.
That's awesome. That's so much faster.
Yeah, and there's very few scraps now.
Yep.
Where before you take a sheet and you start cutting and you end up with a lot more scraps because you don't lay it out as well, obviously, manually. So it's aimed to produce many parts as possible from as little material as possible.
That's super important right now.
You literally without that, you're going to be in big trouble.
You are.
So
And you're just throwing money away.
exactly. So the benefits of nested manufacturing is cost, right? You're going to save money.
Correct.
Because you're just not wasting material.
You certainly are.
But productivity, you can keep moving because you don't need as much material to complete the job.
That's very true.
And obviously from a labor shortage, you're going to keep your laborers that you do have happy, because the last thing a guy wants to do is come to work and have nothing to do.
Right.
I mean, I know as much as people are like, oh, I'd love to do that. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
Like, most people will get bored.
The longest day ever.
Yeah, you get super bored and then you're not productive at all. So you have a labor shortage.
Yep.
You have a material shortage.
You sure do.
And now demand's increasing.
What do I do?
Exactly. So, like, demand increasing is another reason why you're seeing evolution in shops, right? Mm-hmm. Whether you're a one-man shop or a 100-man shop, there's no doubt demand has risen over the last couple of years, right?
Right.
Like, and obviously there's certain industries that really got crushed during COVID. I'm not going to deny that.
Oh, for sure.
And now they're starting to rebound, hopefully. Starting to see some of that stuff pick back up. But the reality is again, 1 to 100-man shop doesn't matter. Something's different today than it was at the beginning of the year.
You can't even deny that.
Yeah, so there is a lot of work out there now. A lot of things are going on. Obviously there's a lot of things happening in the world, but CNC is helping increase the effectiveness and the profitability in those shops.
I absolutely agree with that.
I think there's a lot of shops that will openly say they made it through COVID because of CNC.
I absolutely agree with that as well.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of shops out there that wouldn't have made it without technology.
Yeah, correct.
For sure.
So the evolution of that machine is what kept their business alive.
Absolutely.
When you look back 20 years ago, would those businesses have made it?
Probably not.
No. I mean, let's go back this. What if COVID had hit 20 years ago?
It's scary. I don't know what would have happened, man.
Think about it. You didn't have Zoom.
Right?
You didn't have the ability.
The world would have stopped.
Correct. You didn't have the connection that you had today. You didn't have the internet. You didn't have the infrastructure that we had to be able to do what we're doing, So you start looking at that, and it's like the evolution of CNC really was a big part of it, right?
I would say so.
Yeah. So,
Can't argue with that.
now let's talk about, what other limitation do we have? We have importing limitations right now, right?
We do.
So the USA-made products, what?
They don't get stuck on container ships.
That's true. We posted that earlier this week, and you know what? Garrett posted it, and I loved it. Like, I'm not gonna back down from that one. USA-made products don't get stuck on container ships.
100% true. You can't even argue that.
Yep. Like, for anybody who didn't hear us there, like, buy USA. Remember that. Like, that's why you buy USA. Mm-hmm. USA products, whether you're a sign maker, whether you're a cabinet maker, whether you're a fabricator, I don't care what you do. Your shop runs when you're in your shop.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
If I walk in and say I need parts, as long as you have materials in hand, You can keep things moving.
Yeah, absolutely. I can help you.
Yep. Where we've heard the story. Everybody's heard the stories. Everybody's heard about the container ships floating off the coast. Everybody's heard about the trucking shortages. All the truck drivers are, that are able to keep things moving. We appreciate you guys, because without you guys, we know product doesn't get to our shops.
Oh, yeah.
But that's all USA labor right there. Again, a USA truck is moving that thing around. It's like USA trucks can get it from one shop to another shop. When you can't get it off the ship, you can't get it on the truck, what's the truck driver going to do?
Sit there. That's it. That's all you can do.
Exactly. So at that point, this is where it comes into importing limitations. You need to start thinking about those things. There's so many people out there that we talk to right now, especially. I don't know why. It seems to be every year, this time of year, we get people who are saying oh, but that machine's cheaper. Yeah, but that machine's made in China.
Yeah.
But it's cheaper. Who cares?
Right.
It goes back to our, we've previously talked about this. I harp on this a lot, and I'm not afraid to harp on it. USA built means something to me because, obviously our business has been built around the USA.
Right.
And you know what? I get these comments sometimes when we post this stuff online about how, what about the things that aren't USA made? Seriously? That's the thing you're going to focus on rather than being proud of the fact that there's US labor force and people out here who are actually putting their own blood, sweat, and tears into building your product. You're going to worry about the one product they couldn't do.
Yeah, absolutely. Would we be in this position if we depended on American-made goods more?
Correct.
Would we be sitting here waiting for cargo ships to unload?
Correct.
No, we wouldn't.
No.
We wouldn't depend on another country.
Yeah. The thing that bugs me about it is there's so many people that will look for the small negative rather than the big win. Who cares? There are. I'm gonna be honest. ShopSabre can't build everything in house. As much as I wish we could, I can't build spindles in house. I can't build, everything in house and stay as efficient as I am right now.
Oh, it'd be impossible.
Yeah. So the reality is, I do bring in Italian spindles, and we do bring in some German vacuum pumps, but the reality is they're still not coming out of China.
Right.
They're still not coming out of countries that are causing us to slow down.
Right.
Yes, there are still limitations. I'm not gonna deny that. But I buy all those HSD spindles out of Florida. HSD has a location in Florida. That's where I buy it from.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I'm not going to Italy to buy it.
Right.
Yes.
That's what everybody thinks.
Yeah, HSD gets it from Italy.
Yeah.
Correct. I'm not buying from Italy. I'm buying from Florida.
Yep.
And same with when you start looking at the bearings on the machine, right? I buy them from Chicago. I'm not buying them from over in Taiwan. I'm not buying them from I'm not buying them from Japan. I'm not buying them from Germany. I'm buying them from Chicago.
Yeah.
And then the same with, when you start looking at the frames. I build the frames in-house. We build them here. I have guys on staff that's their entire job is to build you a frame for a machine.
It is.
They're not doing that overseas.
No, they're not.
And that's the thing. A lot of these companies that are importing machines, they're literally sticking their label on somebody else's machine. And we've heard it so many times of oh, we were just talking to a customer this week, right?
Yep.
And he's like, oh, they told me they're going to start building my machine on Monday.
Yeah.
With what?
With
they don't even own a mill.
They do.
How do they build a machine? You mean they're going to take it out of a cargo ship and then they're going to put the gantry on it on Monday?
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. They're not building you a machine.
They're lying to you.
Yeah, don't let them lie to you. The reality is go to everybody's facility and see them build a machine.
Yep.
And when I say build a machine, don't let them give you that dog and pony show of see, we're building them right here. No, ask them to show you the welders.
Yeah.
Ask them to show you the milling processes.
Please.
Ask them to show you who's building the electronics.
Right.
I have electricians in the building.
Can I see your parts department?
Yeah. I want you to see that stuff because the reality is, and I was talking to another employee of ours who worked at competitor's company previous to us, and that employee said to me, yeah, we used to have, and he goes, and I know they still do, he goes, have machines that when somebody didn't like the machine, we'd take them back. And they're in the back, we call it the graveyard, and the machines just sit in the back. And then when we get scrambling for parts, we go back there and rob parts off things.
That doesn't surprise me, honestly.
No. And he said that this time of year, when people need quick turnaround machines and they're more worried about speed and price than they are actually quality, he goes, we'd go back to the graveyard and start piecing machines back together and selling them, repainting them and selling those machines. I'm unbelievable. He goes, why do you think I don't do that anymore? He goes, it's just not the right way of doing business. And I'm like, yeah, that's just not who ShopSabre is.
Right.
That's not who we are. We're not going to go do that. Walk through our building. You will not find one graveyard machine out there.
No, and a lot of people can speak to that. We've had a lot of people come through here.
That's just not who we are. That's the difference between American made. American made, we're just going to build you a machine.
We are.
If you tell me you need a machine, I'm building you a machine.
Can I have one that's made in America, please?
That's very true. They're not like sitting out back. We don't just have them go pick up, put on a truck. Here you go.
I sure wish I could stock machines. I wish I could get that far ahead.
That'd be sweet.
But the reality is, I'm not going to complain about being busy.
No,
I love being busy.
It's the greatest thing ever.
There's 24 hours in the day, and I'll use all 24.
I know. You tell me that all the time.
I will. I'm a man of that. Like, man, I will get up at 3 a.m. and start working if I have to. If I'm behind, I start working.
Oof. I'm going to sleep for the next 24 after I use all those 24.
Nope. I'm a firm believer. I'll work my butt off to keep my customers happy. And, obviously I worked all weekend long on some customer things that I was trying to help with. And I can tell you firsthand that there isn't an employee in this building that doesn't feel that same way. And that's what you get from American Made. So they're importing limitations. Those limitations are real. You're not getting the service, the quality, the technology by importing.
Correct.
So why have shops evolved, right? Why are things changing?
To get faster, more productive, more efficient, less cost.
Exactly. And that is all related to the fact that as you start looking at it, there's a labor shortage, there's a material shortage, there's a demand increase, and we're limited by what we can import right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty big reason why you see evolution, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You have a choice. When things start happening, you've got to adapt, right?
Yep.
Or you fail.
Yeah, 100%.
And so that's where the evolution's coming from. That's where the changes are coming from. It's like the seasons, right?
Right.
It
seems like it's changing as fast as the seasons.
Oh,
it does.
Yeah, I mean, it's CNC machines are changing businesses all over the world right now.
Very true.
We primarily, obviously we're fortunate we've delivered machines to over 35 different countries by now. But when you start looking at where we're at, our primary, business is done in North America, of course. Right. So U.S., Canada, Mexico, but we see it all over the world. I mean, we just, we've been selling machines right now. We just sold one in Japan. We were just working with a company in Japan. Companies are looking at USA equipment.
They are.
Think about that. Being in Japan and you're looking at a machine out of the United States of America.
It's awesome.
That's awesome.
It is.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? It was cool because, they obviously know who Mitsubishi is. Mitsubishi's obviously a well-known company, but,
right.
Very well-known Japanese product. That was one of the big driving factors for them was like, hey, you guys use Japanese, motors on this. Like those are highly touted motors,
They are.
Like that's exactly it. As you start looking at the demand for your product, as your customers start looking at you, they are looking at what you're using and why you're doing it.
Oh, for sure.
Like I assure you of that. Like you may not realize it, but they look.
Oh, they do. Absolutely. 100%.
I know I do.
Yeah.
When I buy a product, I want to find out what parts are being used.
Me too. It's very important.
I want to find out, is it name brand?
Right. Where's it made?
Yeah. Where are you making stuff? Like, that's what I want to know. Like, my biggest thing, let's think about this. Like, importing, how can it hurt you? Like, as you start thinking about the evolution of this stuff, like, what happens when your machine goes down?
You're in trouble.
Well, yeah.
You need help.
Yeah, exactly.
Who are you going to call?
Exactly. Ghostbusters again?
No. You're going to need support this time.
Yeah, we're going to need support. You're not calling Ghostbusters. But yeah, when you call support, you want somebody who's going to pick the phone up and answer the questions, right?
Right.
I'm going to be straight with you. No machine's perfect.
Really?
No machine. I wish I could tell you that we've never had a problem in the history of ShopSabre, but you know what? I'm not going to lie to you. Like, machines do have problems.
It happens.
Unfortunately, I have to depend on other suppliers to do their job.
Yep.
And if one of their parts fail, guess what? My machine goes down, right?
It does.
But the reality is the problem isn't the problem. It's how you react to the problem. That's the difference. Like, what is the difference? Like, the difference between a good and bad experience is how you deal with that issue. How do you deal with that hurdle?
Right. Do you step up, rise to the challenge, fix it? Or
Correct.
do you make excuses and come up with a solution to push it aside?
Exactly. So as you start looking at, different companies to buy from, the first thing you should always look at is what happens when the world goes wrong.
Yeah.
Stop looking at that price tag and, they got it available in 2 weeks.
Well, that's what ifs.
Yeah. Why do they have it available in 2 weeks?
Right.
For one. Right now, nobody should have anything in stock. Just going to be honest with you.
Nothing.
There should be nothing in stock right now. So if somebody's got something in stock, red flag.
Red flag.
Why?
What are you guys doing different?
Yeah. Or, if you get one of those slick talking sales guys who's like, whatever you need for a lead time, I'll hit it. How many people has he told that to?
Are you going to swim out to the cargo ship?
Well, my thing is not even that, but what happens if he tells the next guy that too after you've placed your order? Does your order get bumped because he's trying to make the next order?
It's a good question.
That's
a fair
my thing.
question.
So there's limitations. Like, I can only build a machine so fast.
That's very true.
I can only do so many things, right?
Very true. You're limited to what you have available, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, again, we've already talked about that. Demand is on the rise.
Demand is on the rise.
And I don't have the materials to just build unlimitedly.
Somebody help. I need some materials.
Somebody send me material, right?
Please. Yeah, there's definitely some things we're dealing with right now, some things we're up against in this country. But there are solutions, right? There are solutions.
Yeah. It's attitude. I mean, 100% attitude. If you look for problems, you'll find problems. If you look for solutions, you'll find solutions.
That's deep.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I'm 100% one of those guys that I'm always going to look for the bright side of everything.
Yeah.
I always do.
You do.
It's just how I am. I've been on both sides of it. I had a time where I would always look at the negative. And I've realized negativity breeds negativity.
Yeah.
And it's not fun.
No,
it's not an enjoyable life. So for me, I've always tried to find the light in every situation, right? And so for right now, demand is on the rise, right? That's a good thing for me.
Yeah.
Like, we're busy.
We
Good.
are. We are.
Like, don't be upset about it. Be happy that you're busy, right?
Yeah.
It beats the alternative.
People expect us to say that too, but I really wish they understood how busy it is.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it's fun to be busy, right? It's good to be busy.
It's crazy.
Keeps your day going. But
it does.
When you start thinking about the importing side of things and how does it hurt your business, like, again, my machine goes down. I need to call somebody, right?
Yep.
If they imported the product, who am I calling?
China.
No, I'm going to call the reseller.
Well, you call the reseller too.
Yeah, I'm not calling China. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm never going to call China.
Right.
Okay? I'm not going to do it. So I'm going to call the reseller. I'm going to call.
They're going to call China.
Yeah, and then they're going to tell me they need to call a supplier.
Yep.
Right? Or the vendor.
Yep.
Or we don't have the answer to that, so let me get back to you. Well, now what happens? Now I'm on hold.
Now you wait.
And you wait. And
Yep.
you wait. And you wait. And you don't know if it's days, weeks, months. You don't know because we don't know what we don't know, right?
Nobody knows anything right now.
Correct. And so the supplier now is calling and okay, yep, we figured out this is what's going on. We got to send you a part. Remember that cargo ship that we just talked about that has all the parts on it that we can't unload?
Yeah.
That's what you're going to depend on your parts from?
Looks like I have no choice.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing is you kind of get handcuffed.
You do.
And you're putting yourself in that situation.
You absolutely.
Like, there's nobody to blame but yourself. You're the one who chose to do that.
I didn't force you to buy that machine.
Correct. Exactly. So, yeah, you can wait on an American-made product, right?
Yeah.
Or you can go buy a Chinese product.
You can.
Or an imported product. Let's just call it imported, okay?
Imported.
Because it's not always Chinese
Right.
import, but let's be honest, that's where a large majority of this stuff comes from.
Very much so.
So, as you start looking at that, there's a difference, and the other thing that you'll find, and I know people are like, well, you just said you use stuff from HSD, which gets stuff out of Italy. Yeah, but they fly stuff in.
They do.
It's a very different shipping method.
Yeah, comes on an airplane.
Yeah, like it's much more expensive to ship it that way, but it's because it's dependable.
That's right.
The cargo ship way of thinking is, it's what you see out of China and that area. That's why I mentioned that. I'm not saying that there's no cargo ships coming out of it. Like that's not what I'm saying. Of course, people use cargo ships everywhere, but the reality is, like, the parts we use is
Top notch.
high demand parts.
They are.
Like they are. We have a forecast with these companies that we work with. We have to forecast for a whole year. We tell them what our expected usage is, and they kind of stock for it.
Yeah. They
So
do.
when we say that you're not going to be waiting on things, you really aren't going to be waiting on things because we've already forecasted out. I have stuff in inventory waiting to be used, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You can see it right there in our parts department. Full.
Correct. Yeah. Our parts department today is still got parts.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's certain hurdles and there's certain vendors we run into, one-off parts, things like that. When we build you a custom machine or we build you something that is a little bit one-off, okay, yeah, there's certain hurdles we can run into.
Yeah, and those are things you got to take with a grain of salt too, right?
Yeah.
That's not everyday situation.
Correct. Yeah, trust me, there's things that happen that we're just like, never thought that could happen, right?
Right.
Like, how did that happen?
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Guess what? It only happens once.
Right?
We learn.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, if there's one thing about ShopSabre people is we learn.
Yeah, we
Like,
do.
Okay, you got us. You got us once.
That didn't work so
Yeah,
well.
you got us once. Okay, well, that won't happen again.
Yeah, you're
like,
right.
We learned. So it's one of those things where, you know what? We do adapt and we try to, increase our own demand internally.
Yeah.
We're increasing our own demand, right?
We are.
We're also going to have, we're going to limit our importing, right? So we don't have that limitation,
I like it.
right? So we limit that importing. And then you start looking at the labor shortage, right? We utilize the labor in our building very well. We're hiring all the time.
We are.
Literally all the time. I have an ad out there all the time for a position.
Yep.
So right now, you could apply at ShopSabre and there would be something, I'm sure. So the labor shortage, I can't overcome it, right?
You're right.
So I get it more efficient with what I have, right?
That makes sense.
So that's where, like, materials, right? Again, we're stocking materials as fast as we can get them.
Yep.
We're using materials as fast as we can, but we're being very efficient with the materials we do use.
We are. Very smart back there.
So, it's all those things that kind of compile into one to try to make sure that you as a business can evolve.
Right. So you have the things you need.
Yeah, I mean, as we've said, we started to see a lot of businesses evolve with the times, and who knows what the next 2 years brings? I don't know.
I wonder what the next month brings.
Yeah, like I can't even guess at it, right? I mean,
No, you
I would have
can't.
never guessed 2 years ago we'd be doing as many Zoom meetings and Teams meetings and all that. Like I would have never guessed that. Ever.
No.
Like it's just complete. Like when I started here at ShopSabre, Teams wasn't around, right?
Well, there weren't computers yet, were there?
Yes, there were computers.
Okay.
We had computers. Not quite that old. But the reality is we did have desktop computers.
Yeah.
Like now we have laptops. Like you can take your work with you on the go. Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
That's efficient.
Like back then you used to have spreadsheets. You used to have to do your quoting on a spreadsheet.
TPS sheets.
Yeah. Now you have, the cloud, if you will, right?
Yeah. Don't get me started on that.
I don't know where the cloud is.
Yeah.
It's there.
Don't get me started
Full
on
of
that.
information.
Where's your email? It's in the cloud.
Yeah, I don't know.
Somewhere
I'm
up
looking.
there.
Can't find it. But no, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you can log into your email everywhere now. Like
For sure.
Before you used to write your email right to your desktop, and that was like where your email was. Now it's in our phones. It's now it's connected to you all the time.
Yeah. You're
Like,
connected 24/7.
That evolution, man. It's the evolution of like how things go. Think about the support evolution alone, right?
Yeah.
Like the evolution of support used to be one guy. It was my dad
Yeah.
on his cell phone. Like seriously, it was my dad on his Nextel.
Really?
Yeah, his Nextel. Like he used to walk around on his Nextel. Like my dad was connected to his Nextel all the time because we didn't have Bluetooth earpieces back then.
I said it makes sense.
Like
right?
he was connected to that phone all the time. So like, God, I just remember him like always taking care of people, like always talking to people. Like he was the only guy. Now we have a whole support group.
We do.
That's their jobs. Obviously you see them. They're all on Bluetooth headsets and they're working while they're working. Like
Yeah.
we've got email response. We've got online forums now. Like we have a user group online. Like none of that existed when it first
We
started.
have a podcast.
What, we have a podcast?
Yeah. You
Unbelievable.
didn't mention that.
Where did that come from?
I don't know, but you forgot.
Yeah, how could I hear that? I didn't know we had a podcast. Oh, wait, we're here.
ShopSabre.com.
ShopSabre.com. Got you, Garrett. Don't worry, bud. That's what he was thinking, too, the whole time.
Yeah,
He's like,
for
come on,
sure.
throw in ShopSabre. Follow us on Facebook.
For sure.
Facebook, Instagram. What's the other one? LinkedIn.
TikTok.
Tic-Tac.
Yeah.
We got some Tic-Tacs. What else we got?
Evolution. That's what we have.
We have Evolution.
We have
I know we have a
Evolution.
lot of social media. I'm trying to plug all Garrett's stuff.
There's too many of them.
YouTube. You got YouTube.
YouTube.
Make sure you follow us on YouTube. Subscribe. Give us a like, share. I think we got Reels now. I don't even know what that is.
I've never even heard of that.
It's
What
like
is
Instagram Reels. Like I don't even
that? Okay.
no idea what that means.
All
But
right.
cool, Garrett. Keep going.
We're just evolving even further.
Yeah, but that's my point. Like, think about the evolution of marketing.
Yeah.
Like how you market your business, how you talk to your consumers, how do you show off your products, how do you showcase your stuff, right? Like evolution.
Yep.
Like you got to change with the times.
Yeah, you don't have a choice.
I remember a time when there was a certain employee here. Name starts with a B, ends with a Randon. Okay, he may or may not have been fired for starting a Facebook page. Just saying.
I might have heard something about that.
May or may not have because quote unquote I was screwing around.
Yeah.
I mean he was screwing
He
around.
was screwing around. He was
Not
screwing
I,
around.
He, this guy. But no, like seriously, like the evolution of marketing and like Facebook was quote unquote a crazy fad for a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
MySpace, remember that?
Yeah. Hi.
Like,
Thanks,
yeah.
Tom.
Hey,
Thanks
Tom,
for being
how
my
you
friend.
doing? Yeah. Your first friend, Tom. But no, my point is like it changed there too.
Yeah.
Like nobody really knew what Facebook was going to grow into be. Nobody really knew what social media was going to do to the world, right?
Yep.
But it's evolved, it's changed, it's connected people. Like there's a lot of negative things about Facebook that people don't like. But there's a lot of positive things. Like you can going back to it, like, people like Facebook because it connects you with people.
It does.
You can stay connected with people you otherwise probably would lose communication with.
Yeah. Must have turned out okay. You're back here, right?
Yeah, it worked out.
Let's go, Brandon.
I'm back. I mean, he's back.
He's back.
It's B. Randon.
B. Randon.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, when you start thinking about that, like it's an evolution.
It is.
Everything's an evolution in business, whether it's the equipment you're using, the people you work with, the way you promote your product, the product you're selling
Yep.
has evolved.
Yep.
Like everybody who's out there listening right now, I want you to think back 20 years ago. What did your business look like 20 years ago?
Wow. Yeah.
Like think about that. Like 20 years ago, what did your business look like? What were you doing 20 years ago that today that you're like, how did I do that?
When did this change happen?
Yeah, like, I'm thinking about it, like, just from a life perspective, right? Dude, I can open my garage door with my phone now.
Yeah.
Like 20 years ago, you weren't doing like that. Was stuff you were thinking, like dreaming about. Like
I could barely get the keypad to work, let alone open it with my phone.
so, I don't know. You remember the movie? God, what was it? What was it with Richie Rich?
Richie Rich.
Is that the name of the movie?
That would be the name of the movie. Would be Richie Rich.
Was it okay?
Yeah.
And his parents got.
Yeah, he lived in Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. Okay. So that movie. Remember when the dad had that gold watch?
Yeah.
And they were able to communicate with each other?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
I remember being a kid and faking that my watch could do that. Like, I remember doing that.
Is that why you sit in here and talk to it sometimes?
But now, like, you can talk to your watch.
Oh, okay, that's true.
Now you have the Apple Watches.
That's
like,
right.
Think about that.
That's right.
Like, the evolution. You go back, like, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I guess that was closer. Wow, it was closer to 30 years ago.
You seem to have aged 10 years since yesterday.
Yeah, yikes, that hurt.
I remember that movie well.
Yeah, but you think about that, and it's like you like saw that, and you're like, "Oh man, that was a cool gadget. I'm gonna pretend I have that, right?"
And now we have.
We have that now.
Yeah.
Like I can call somebody from my watch.
Yeah.
The problem is it makes you look like a jerk sometimes because you're like you get a text message, so you look at your watch, and you're like, "Oh."
And then you start talking to it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to look at my watch while you were talking there, you know? Like, but the reality is like, that's kind of where the world has gone is like that evolution of technology. You've embraced it. I mean, you have your cell phone on your wrist now.
Yep. Everywhere you go.
Like, I don't think we're far off from some new technology. You know, I think there's going to be something here, right? Something's got to happen. You got to have that evolution. What's the next thing? You know, we're seeing a lot of electric cars now.
Yeah.
We're seeing a huge electric car push.
Well, yeah, that was legislated though, right? So you
Yeah.
see things like that where you're going to be forced into changes.
Yeah. But I mean, you start thinking about that, like, you go back 30 years ago, electric cars.
Wasn't a thing.
No, I mean, it was the Jetsons, right?
Yeah, yeah.
We were watching the Jetsons, and that's what you were thinking. Like, that's the future. We're going to see that in 2020, right?
That'd be so cool.
Yeah, but it wasn't. Like,
Fly
that's
to
not what we're
work.
going to have. Yeah.
Fly to work in my car.
You have a hard time driving the Kia 150 to work. How are you going to fly?
That's true. She's got a flat tire right now out in your parking lot.
Of course it does.
It's number 3.
Why wouldn't it have another flat?
Never had a flat tire until I started working for you. Now it's every 4 months.
That's how I keep you from leaving.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, walk out there and flat tire.
Gotta keep buying tires.
You can't leave because you have a flat tire. Yeah, might as well keep working. The nail strip at the
I'm gonna get you with a blow dart gun soon.
the entrance, that nail strip thing to the entrance of the parking lot.
Working great.
Slick.
Working
Best investment
great.
I ever made. But, you know, I was thinking about that, like those when you go into the airport and they have those spike strips, you know, so you can't drive the wrong way.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking about maybe installing one of those in the old ShopSabre parking lot.
That wouldn't surprise me.
That's you.
Not at all.
Can't get out,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
No, that's not a good idea. No, it's but I mean, like I said, it's evolution. Everything's an evolution. Everything's a change. CNC has evolved. CNC is evolving. Your business should be too. If you have not made a change lately, if you have not upgraded your equipment, if you haven't thought about upgrading your equipment, your processes, your people.
If you're
now's the
looking
time.
for employees right now.
Yeah. If you're looking for employees right now and you don't have a CNC, you should be looking at a CNC.
Correct. Absolutely. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you can keep thinking about it, or you can just do it. Like,
Yeah.
that's the reality is, like, I want people to start thinking about this. Like, how many times have you said to yourself, we're going to start looking at a CNC soon? That was a year ago, I guarantee it.
Yeah.
You were saying that a year ago to yourself. Mm-hmm. Just do it. Start looking today. Pick up the phone and call us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, let us walk you through it. Maybe you don't do anything today.
Right.
But maybe you find out it's far more affordable for you to do something today than it is to keep putting it off.
At least we have a point to start from.
Correct. I mean, you have too many opportunities out there right now to not be thinking about this. And as you start going through it, you know, I got guys that are, you know, that have said to me, like, I'm looking for that sign. Well, here's your sign. It's me telling you it's time for a CNC. This is your sign. This episode is your sign. Right? The evolution of CNC hit today because it's time for you to evolve.
Yeah. Time to open your eyes.
Yep. Open up your eyes.
See what's going on.
Exactly. Change is happening.
It is.
It's getting cold outside.
One way or another.
It's getting cold.
Yeah, I'm cold in here.
Yeah, I know. You're shaking still.
I am. It's cold in
Should
here.
have brought your blankie with you.
I'm snuggy.
You got your snuggie. Well, this is what happens when you, what is it? It is currently 5:30 in the morning.
It's cold.
So-
Still be in bed.
It's 5:30. It's like, it's still pitch black outside.
Yeah. It's getting dark earlier. It's staying
It's just
dark all the time
now.
Cold all the
So
time.
it's 5:30. It's, 39 degrees currently.
Cold.
49, I'm sorry, I can't read. 49 degrees currently. And it is sunny today.
Thanks
It's
for
dark
the
right
weather.
now,
Thanks
but
for the weather
it's
report.
gonna be sunny today.
Thank you.
So, in case you're wondering.
If ShopSabre doesn't work out for you, I think
should be a weatherman.
You might have a chance.
Should I?
Yeah, you have the personality for it.
I don't even know what that means.
You ever seen the weatherman? You ever seen a calm weatherman? No, they're hyper. They're that's you. You could be that guy.
What was that?
That's you.
I'm gonna do that from now on into the mic. Woo! Did I do it? Was it right?
You have the energy. You can do it.
God. I want to be a sports guy.
You can do that too.
From downtown.
Yeah, there you
That's
go.
What I
Yeah,
want
you
to
can
do.
do
I just
it.
want to scream out from downtown. Oh my God. But yeah, no, Garrett's on week 2 of healing.
Yep.
Hopefully back in 2 more weeks.
Sounds like he should be. Hopefully.
We'll find out.
He was talking about his mom bringing him one day this week because he missed us.
Yes.
I know. I was really excited for that. I was
You
going to
know-
make fun of him like, your mom's bringing you? I'm like, wait a minute. No,
Don't make fun
such
of
a
him.
nice lady.
Yeah, don't make
She
fun
should
of
bring
him.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you should bring him. Yeah, come on. I agree. I think that would be a cool thing to have him show up to. You know what? I think we should have him show up this week.
Yeah.
I think we should say that. You know what? Have your mom bring you to work.
Yeah.
I'd
send you an
pick him
Uber.
up, but he's so far away.
He's so far away.
So
I'd pay for an Uber, but it'd be a $208 Uber.
Hey, Garrett, you want to Uber to work? Your weekly bill is $1,000.
Glad you're here. My kids don't get to eat this week.
Yeah, Hunter would be like, yeah, why are we eating mac and cheese for the 74th time?
Ask your Uncle Garrett.
Ask Uncle Garrett. But at least he made it to work, and he's got that sweet truck sitting in the parking lot.
Right.
You think you could hire an Uber to drive his truck and it'd be cheaper?
That's a good question.
Should ask him that. I don't think so.
No.
All right, well, you know what? I think it's time to get back to work.
It's time.
All right, I'm Brandon.
I'm Jesse.
Thanks for talking shop with ShopSabre.